This is Randall, or Randy, from Central Kentucky, and tonight is Sunday. It's 9:30 in the evening. We've had rain all day. Been a very nasty day. But I wanted to show you what I have as far as my solar setup. I know a lot of you probably see a lot of comments that I make about solar, and I'll try and give you a little background, maybe a little history on what I've learned throughout the years with solar. I've always had a strong background in electronics and a lot of class hours in college, so if I answer your question, it's to the best of my knowledge. I may not always answer a question the right way or the way you want to hear it, but I'm just going from knowledge. That's it. But we'll start off with my battery bank here today. And behind me I have 1500 amp hours of battery. They're all AGM batteries. They are Deca solar batteries. Each battery is 250 amp hours for a total of 1500. And I have them all wired in 12 volts. And I'll show you in just a couple minutes why I have them wired in 12 volts. But let's take a look at the battery bank itself, and I'll go I'll go through a few things with you. Thanks. Okay. I just have a ruler here as a reference, 12 inches long. These are big old batteries. Two battery chargers here. Each battery charger can charge two batteries at once. I have 6 batteries, but you know, if push comes to shove and we just don't have sun forever, I can keep the batteries topped off, and I have done that before in the past. But a lot of you guys out there just make me a nervous wreck. You'll run your batteries down to 60% capacity, and the hairs stand up on the back of my head. But I never take these below 80. I just like, years ago we were caught in a big winter storm and no electricity for, I don't know, 10, 12 days maybe, and I never want to go through that again. So that's the reason why I don't like to go below 80%. But 4 batteries up here. We got 2 on the bottom. Okay. Now let me shut these doors. How do you like the holder there? Got that from a junkyard. Came off a Ford Ranger. I was going to get a couple of those hydraulic deals, but this works. I have grandkids, so I like to keep it kind of child-proof. Okay. All right. Solar comes in from the panels here on the gray wire. Goes into the disconnects, then on up to the charge controllers. This is the master. This is the slave. This is the new edition that had problems with. I finally figured out what the problems were on this one. It's a 40 amp Renogy MPPT charge controller. The problem was I had 4 panels. Each panel was, well, I had 2 Monty panels at 160 watts and 2 DM Solar 158 watts panel that were polys. They just didn't like each other, and I wasn't getting in enough charging amps. So I ordered, maybe 3 weeks ago, I got in 2 more Monty crystalline panels to match the other 2 that I have out there. So I have 4 160 watt panels in series parallel coming into this, and this thing is a beast. It's I've checked it a couple of times. What I'll do is go to the breakers and turn off the midnights and just let this one charge. The last day I tested this, the state of charge on the batteries was 88%, and just with this running, by 1 o'clock that afternoon, I turned on the midnights and they were at 98%. So yeah, it does real good. I really like it. And then of course the disconnects here going down to the battery. Whoops. These things are sensitive. Okay, a few little tools there for measuring. The inverter, pure sine wave, Xantrax 1800 watts or 15 amps. It goes here, out the gray wire, back up through the little disconnect up here. Now through the disconnect, what I did was, this is a hybrid system, and the reason I'm saying it's a hybrid system is, well, I'll just show you. Going into a dark house. Not for long, okay. What I did was, the off and on switch to that Xantrax is right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, probably not, but it says the stated charge is 12.5, and it's using 3 amps right now. And what I have running, it's not using a lot of power right now, although I have on a lamp. The little bit of voltage that is used, I run this, I think it's a 55 or 60 inch TV LED screen here with solar. And what I do, there's an extension cable, or extension wire rather, 12 gauge. That's what I did. I went throughout the house and I put in a lot of duplexes. I use number 14 wire that's good for 20 amps, but I'm only using a 15 amp inverter, so I wanted more wire, and I still want the breaker to trip at 15 amps, which is a good thing. But I'll just, I have I think 9 or 10 of these duplexes throughout the house in critical locations. They run 2 refrigerators. They run all the lamps. They're running the Christmas tree right now. Over at the fireplace, I have a propane fireplace right here. This little light here, believe it or not, that's a 3-watt LED. And can you see the gray cover on that? Well, the gray cover to me and my wife indicates that it's in solar. Right beside it, just to the right of it, is the regular utility 120 volt outlet. And in the bedrooms, the bedroom here, same way. That lamp is ran on solar, as this lamp. We use a fan at night. I know a lot of people do, some don't, but okay, this is a good example here. I'll try and zoom this in. Okay, so we're plugged into solar on the left. I know it's solar because the cover plate is gray. Just to the right of it is utility. So that's how everything is set up. This video is probably going to be two parts because I don't think I'll be able to splice two videos together. I really should spend some money and get a better camera, but you know, it is what it is right now. But everything I get, anytime an appliance goes bad, I get an energy efficient. This refrigerator is energy efficient, as is the one in the garage. Out in the sunroom, wife is out there right now watching oh heck, I can't think of the name of it. Some kind of Walking Dead. There you go. Here's a control center for me. That's where I do a lot of my business at. Right, can't see. Right here. This TV is also run on solar, as is the modem and the cable box. Two little house dogs, spoiled or rotten. And we're going to run out to the other refrigerator. Well, you try and keep these videos short, and before you know it, you look on the timer and use up a lot of time. I didn't think I'd talk that much. But if you didn't, we'll look at this other refrigerator here in a sec, but if you didn't know any better, you would think coming in, everybody says, oh, nice deep freeze. And it sort of resembles a deep freeze, especially from the, you know, coming in through the garage or the side door. But this refrigerator is energy efficient as well. One thing about refrigerators I want to cover real quick, and some of you may know this, some of you may not, but, and it's, I don't know, maybe an urban legend that if you put a lot of food in, you know, just jam-pack the refrigerator full and the freezer, or, you know, just regular floor freezer, the fuller you keep it, the less energy you use. Well, it's an urban legend is what it is. There's so many things you have to deal with when you look at that, like well, relative humidity and thermal mass, and you know, heat transfer. Because when you open the door, you open a refrigerator or a freezer, your cold air, it doesn't come out. Cold air falls out. It just falls to the floor. Okay, compressor just kicked on. And, you know, a lot of people will argue with you, well, I keep mine full and it cycles on. You know, the frequency of cycling on and off is not near as much because it's full. Yeah, that may be true. But did you know that when it does cycle on, the cycle is longer? So, you know, it's about a break even. You may save $1 or $2 a year by keeping a refrigerator full. Now, if you can't keep it full, what you can do is you can put, you know, a gallon after you drink your, you know, gallon of milk, and maybe wash it out, just leave it empty and fill the refrigerator full of them. Those have, you know, eventually they're going to have cold air in them, whatever the temp is on the refrigerator. So when you open that door, the air falls out. I mean, it just hits the floor. But it recovers quicker because you have those bottles, empty bottles in your refrigerator. But, you know, it's a lot to go through to do that for, you know, maybe $1 or $2 a year savings. So to me, it's not worth it. But maybe I'll just do all this in one video. The one classic right here is Classic 150. I have 1200 watts coming in on it at 12 volts. That's the master and the slave. This has 1250 watts coming in on it. And in the summertime, I don't have any problem at all charging the battery bank. If I get down to, you know, 80%, I'm 100% state of charge by, oh gosh, noon. So, and then the rest of the day, I'm just burning off energy. What am I going to do with it? Can't use it. So, yeah, I had the bright idea. Yeah, I'll throw it in this grid tie inverter right here. Okay. And I know a lot of you out there have these things, they work. Are they efficient? Not that well. But on the master midnight, I had a switch on it so I could just switch it, either, incoming current going to the midnight or to this power jack 1200 watt grid tie inverter. And this particular one it's good. It's a DC input, 100 volts to 160 volts. So it could take the volts real good. And many times, it's got a real nice LED up here. I've seen 800 watts on this easy. But one thing you got to remember, I'm just, going over something safety here. I went to a friend's house, not too far. Yeah, I got a lot of friends. You hear that a lot, but I do have a lot of friends. But he had about 10 of these things. The smaller, I think they're made by a company. Well, all of them come from China or Japan, but I think the name brand on them was Sun. He had like 10 of them. I said, man, are you crazy? He said, what do you mean? He had them all going in to one 15 amp circuit. I said, what else you got on that circuit? Oh, he said, I use that every now and then for, my table saw, different things like that. I said, one thing you got to realize, I said, from these grid tie inverters, the cheap Chinese grid tie inverters, yeah, they work. They do what you're supposed to do. When the grid goes down, they do shut off. I can testify to that. But one thing you got to realize is when you're using these things, you don't want to go over. You have to remember, if you're on this circuit right here, it's on a 15 amp circuit, okay? So if I'm putting in, I don't know, 1400 watts, I don't have any other loads hooked on that, yeah, it'll work just fine. But what if I'm using a table saw and I run it for 30 minutes and it's pulling, I don't know, 1200 watts? Well, what happens is, yeah, you can still invert and you're going to use this power up first. But inside that wire, if you're using a 15 amp or 20 amp, 12 gauge or 14 gauge, the heat coming from the grid tie and the heat generated for the usage of the whatever it is you're going, saw, table saw, or whatever, you're going to well exceed 15 or 20 amps. And what's going to happen is it's not going to trip that breaker, because electricity is going actually two ways, and it does not know to tell the circuit breaker to trip. So what happens is you have a fire in the wires somewhere, and it can burn your house down. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. What else haven't I covered? Oh, one more thing. Looks like this is going to be a 20-minute video, but I want to show you what actually, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a propane tank with a three brick elements on it. And this is my handy dandy Randy 15,000 BTU heater. And it works good. It's on wheels. You can roll it to any room. And, don't use propane in the house. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But if you're cold, you don't have any way out, you got to stay home, you can't beat this. But one thing that I did, it didn't come with a blower. So I added the blower. Right here, I added a blower. Also, I've still got to put an off and on switch on it, but with this one, I may put a bigger wire on it, but I can run the blower off solar. because I can go in any room downstairs and, you know, plug it in any room. Wife and I do not use the upstairs, so, you know, that helps on bills too. The only time we use that is when the company's here. And usually we have the two grand boys on Friday and sometimes Saturday. And, you know, if you got grandkids, they're always holding the door open and, what are you looking for? I don't know yet. But, you know, we all did that as kids, so what can you say? But right now, our temperature on our classics is 60.3. I'm going to use one of these guns, infrared. Let's just see how accurate that is. 60.4, that's pretty accurate. So this runs up to this right here, okay? And a shout out to my buddy Jonathan Ellis. Buddy, I still got your Reliance Pro-Tran transfer switch. Actually, I was going to put it in over here, but my wife said no. Got to listen to your wife. If I put it right here, all I have to do is go through 3 wall studs that are 16 inches apart into the breaker box. But she said she didn't want it because it looked ugly. Okay? So it's still sitting up there. So maybe I can talk her into it one day. You know, have that and still have this as well. So, but at least, you know, if I did that, I could use 2, 3, or 4 circuits and get the full benefit out of the classics and the Renogy charge controller. But that's it, guys and gals. I just wanted to give you a, you know, you see me making a lot of comments, but you know, now maybe you can put a face to it. So I hope you can anyway. But listen, you guys have a great night, and we'll make another video. See you later.